can't find the wire. Wait. I see it. There's sweat in my eyes. I can't really see.
Hey everybody, that's right, I finally fixed that hole in the wall, that ugly, nasty hole that was in the wall. I made it so you can't even see that there was anything there. I went out to the store and I picked myself up some hole be gone, and that's really all it takes. No, actually, the real reason why it took me so long was because I had to run the patch cable from the next room up into the attic where it's itchy with, and I'm basically swimming in fiberglass, all the way over to this wall, and that's just one of the problems. The other problem was that this is an exterior wall, meaning, an exterior wall to my house, meaning that there's drywall, about an inch of separation, and then cinder blocks. So there's not a lot of space, unlike a regular wall inside of a house where it's drywall, 2x4 stud, drywall normally. So there wasn't a whole lot of space, so it was a really ugly kind of process of me cutting a hole in the wall and fishing it down. It's going to be definitely a trust the process, believe in the outcome type of thing. Another thing I wanted to talk about real quick is that I'm constantly updating my setup and buying new equipment to make my videos in a better quality. I'm filming in my phone, the S23 Ultra in 8K. I have now a key in a fill light that I just set up today or last night, and I have this light, which is what I used previously. So in the previous videos, there was somebody who commented on it and said that it was annoying to see like the ring light reflected off of my glasses. And I totally understand that. It annoyed me too. It's just there wasn't much I could do at the time. So I bought some proper key and fill light, and this should look a lot better to you guys. Anyways, guys, here's how I ran the patch cable through the wall, terminated the ends in two different ways. In case you guys have never done that before, I'll show you how, and patch and fix the wall. The first thing I had to do was figure out how to get the wire into the wall. So I went up into the attic and drilled a hole top down. It was barely any space, but I did it to feed the wire through and down into the wall. This part was real simple. I just used the slit that I had made in the drywall to feed the wire down until it got to the outlet. I know that there's a tool intended for this purpose, and I actually own one. It's like a fishing reel essentially with a wire that goes up, and then you just pull the wire down through the wall. The problem is that it just doesn't fit in that small space and kept getting stuck, so I had to do it this way. How does that old adage go? There's a million ways to skin a cat. This is one of those ways. With the patch cable now fed through the box how I needed it, I stripped the wire off, separated the colors, and got it ready to terminate. Now, terminating a patch cable or an Ethernet cable is actually pretty simple. You can follow these color guides, but realistically speaking, they're wires, right? As long as they're pinned exactly the same on either end of the patch cable, it doesn't really matter what order all the colors are in, as long as they're the same on both ends. Even so, I always suggest using the color guides to get into the habit of using the right ones. I use T568A pattern, but there's also T568B, and the difference is just T568A is for residential and T568B is for commercial, but again, it doesn't really matter as long as both ends are the same. With this particular outlet, you basically just follow the color pattern and use this black tool to push the wires down into it. You don't have to strip the individual wires themselves because the black tool pushing the wire down actually pushes it into a sort of contact, like a knife, that cuts into the wire's insulation and makes contact with it. With that side of the cable terminated, it was now time to terminate the other side. Now, I intended for this to just be a wall outlet like the other side, and there will be eventually, but for the sake of filming this video and showing you guys a second way, and also because I can't find the outlet that I had bought for the wall, I'm going to do it this way. Terminating a patch cable with a connector like this one is pretty simple. You strip the outside insulation, then you separate all of the individual braided pairs. Once the braided pairs are separated, you order them exactly how you need to, either T568A or T568B, whatever you choose to do. I like to use flush cut pliers also to cut them flush with each other. It just makes it easier going into the connector. Getting the coordination down is a little tricky. It's just, you have to hold it with your thumb, make sure that they stay flat and in the same order, and then you stick them into the connector and feed them through the other end. Like I said, this can be a little bit tricky, but the good part about this is that you can just pull the wires out and try again if you mess up. If at some point the wires overlap or they go out of place, you just pull the wire out and try again. And this is me just feeding the wires through and making sure that all the individual wires are in the correct order that I wanted. Once you're confident all the wires are in the right place, it's time to break out the tool that actually makes the connection. This is the part number of the tool that I used. I'm sure there are different brands that make this, but I used the Klein Tools one. You stick the terminated end of the patch cable into the tool and you ratchet down, you give it a good bit of force, and that'll make contact with all of the wires through the insulation into the contacts. So it's super simple, super easy. Now you have a terminated end of an Ethernet cable. All you really have to do is just trim the wires at the end, and that's it. You have a functioning Ethernet cable. Grab yourself some connectors, grab yourself some length of patch cable, and the tool that I used, and that's it. You can make yourself custom length Ethernet cables anywhere in your house. I plugged the connector into my router and I moved back to the other room in order to kind of square away the outlet. This is the outlet I had laying around. Obviously it's not ideal because it has the two ports. One of them is the coaxial that I'm not going to be using in this case, but I can always change this wall plate by taking out the Cat 6 port and putting it into another wall plate that only has one outlet. Super simple and modular. Just snap it in and your wall plate's done. With the wire all situated and both ends terminated, it was time to plaster the wall. Obviously, I'm not a professional painter or anything like that, but with enough layers of plaster and enough sanding, you can pretty much make any hole in a wall disappear. Thankfully, I had some paint left over from when I painted this room, and little by little, the hole just disappeared until there was nothing left. Well, there you go. Finally, no more hole, and I have a direct Ethernet outlet right there next to my computer. As always, thank you all for watching my video. I really appreciate every single one of you guys, and I'll answer every single comment. Please don't forget to hit like, comment on the video, and subscribe to my channel so you'll get notified when the next videos come out. And as promised, here's the update to my shelf and back wall. So on the shelf I have some pretty cool stuff. There's a lenticular print of Marty and his two siblings, just like the movie, and these really cool Ultimate action figures. I really like them. They're super lifelike. I've got the Back to the Future Lego DeLorean, and what's this? That's right, I met the cast of Back to the Future, and I was able to get them to sign my hoverboard, all four of them, Tom Wilson, Leah Thompson, Michael J. Fox, and Christopher Lloyd. All of this took place at MegaCon Orlando a few weeks ago, and it was really hectic, but it was a once-in-a-lifetime thing. I had to do it.